Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Let's Play. What am I playing? 999. 9 person, 9 hours, and 9 doors. I think it said 9 person. Like, there's, like, because I don't know singularity versus multiplicity. Regardless, we have just come to the realization that it seems like a bit of a leap of logic, but the random guy that we know nothing about, hey, he's probably the 4th guy in the photo that we know nothing about. I'm like, not necessarily, but I guess he could be. But it does mean that if that's the case, then Zero is intentionally murdering everyone that was involved in the creation of the Nonary Project, except for Ace, except for Hongo.
Kubota, the person who conducted the actual experiments. Nijisaki, Hongo's assistant. Musashido, the man who financed the project.
You mean this was all just revenge?
If it was just revenge, why are the rest of us here, though?
Santa is Zero. He's getting revenge for the death of his sister.
Which this is an entirely weirdly elaborate way. It almost, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible for that to happen, but it seems very odd that he would drag in 8 other innocent people, some of which who had ties to the previous game or were even in the previous game, and make them go through the game again just to get revenge on Hongo.
That's why he killed them.
No, I don't think Santa actually murdered anyone.
Yeah, that is true. He caused it a situation where they would get themselves killed. Although, actually, how do we know he didn't kill Cap? Like, we know Ace killed the person X, who they're calling Nijisaki, and we know that the 9th man got himself killed, but what about Cap? Explain why our we had no doubt that Santa killed no one. The madness of the last several hours was finally driving him insane, but Junpei ceased to be surprised by his sudden knowledge. You're going to accept it. Again, okay, that's a reference to he's getting information for the other playthrough, but even in the other playthrough, how do we know that Santa didn't kill Cap before the game was set in motion?
If I'm right, then it's not hard to figure out who the next victim's gonna be, is it?
Well, Ace, obviously.
I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you.
You don't.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Snake Lover and 7 all nodded.
The next target will be Gentaro Hongo.
Well, geez, Snake, we just agreed that we didn't have to say it out loud.
The person who planned the Nonary Project.
In other words, Ace.
I'm so glad they decided not to spell it out for me.
What?
And then the room shook. From far away, they heard the sudden rush of water.
What the hell's going on here?
We sat around talking while the ship was sinking, you idiot.
It must be 6 a.m. Our time is up.
Shit!
Come on, we need to get out of here.
Yeah, why were you guys sitting around when you knew the ship was almost about to start sinking, idiots?
How?
The drawer that held the picture was a key card. Junpei grabbed it.
I'm betting this sucker opens the exit. Come on, let's go.
Keycard 0. He's screenless, isn't he? What new information got added to the file structure? Oh, the picture taken 9 years ago? Okay. Okay, wrong one. Look, it unlocked! Yeah, now we can go back to the library. I found it, but the ship is sinking. You found it. The door opened, and they stumbled out in the library.
Huh. I think the shaking stopped.
It would seem so, but we are yet to be out of danger.
You're right. Let's hurry.
Ran across the hallway.
This exit needs the Uranus card, too.
Straight for the large metal door. Next to the door was the Uranus card reader.
Hey, Junpei.
Yeah, I know.
So the key through the door, and the rumble
All
open.
right, it's open. Let's go.
Out of the library into the hallway they ran. At the end of the hallway was a door. Junpei reached the pocket and pulled out the key as he ran towards it.
Okay, Neptune Key, let's see if you work.
What do you mean if? It better work.
Yes! I think it unlocked.
Fantastic. The lock clicked. As one, they showed the door open and poured through it. In front of them was another great metal door. Above was a large metal plaque.
It says incinerator.
Yep. This is where we were 9 years ago. Except by we, I mean everyone but Junpei.
So this is the incinerator.
This is the first time I've seen it from this side, but yeah, I think so.
Then there ought to be a lever near the door.
Yeah, right here.
Junpei ran up to it.
Pull that and the door should open.
Got it.
As he spoke, he pulled the lever. When the door groaned as it slowed ground open. There's no time
Let's
to
go.
waste. And suddenly, before they parted from earlier, Ace and Lotus in front of the number 9 door. Sam was throwing the ball against the wall, holding a wow! And then there was June. She sat slumped against the wall, exhausted.
What the hell is going on?
Junpei ran towards June. She in front of her, knelt down.
What's wrong? Are you okay?
Does she have another damn fever? Her face was pale and her lips were dry, so he could barely hear her.
Junpei, you came to get me.
Of course I did. I made a promise.
I'm so glad you're here. So glad.
She mumbled the same words over and over weakly. Junpei could feel his heart breaking.
What happened to you?
I'm fine.
No, what happened to you is the question, not how. Whether, are you fine or not?
I just fainted. I wasn't feeling very good.
I don't know what this disease thing she's going through the entire time. Although, actually, if everyone's getting information from their other selves and June's other self is dead, maybe that's actually what's happening, is she keeps getting more and more and more in tune with being dead.
I'm feeling a lot better now, though.
Are you sure?
Yes. I just need to rest a little longer. I'm sure I'll be fine.
You know the ship is sinking, right?
You shouldn't worry about me.
She leaned towards Santa. She didn't look as well.
Santa.
Grimace's face contorted in pain. Santa grabbed him by the collar and roared. Yeah, that's about what I figured so would
Hey,
do.
where is it? Where's the gun? You hide it somewhere?
In his stomach, apparently. As I've gone to pain, as Santa's lips as Santa shook him.
Don't have it. I got sucker punched and they took the gun.
They?
What? Who took it?
What? Isn't that obvious?
I took the gun.
Freaking figured.
Ace.
He did indeed have the revolver in his hand. Pressed against Lotus's temple. He had her pinned against the other arm, and she was shaking visibly. Her fiery attitude was replaced by fear. She didn't dare speak. There was sweat on her forehead. When her eyes weren't flicking up to the gun pressed against her, they seemed desperately want to say something. So Ace turns into a... I mean, I guess now that we know he's Hongo, every time we know he's Hongo, he turns into an asshole. Which I guess makes sense.
Just what the hell do you think you're doing, Ace? Or maybe I ought to say Gentaro Hongo, CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals?
Someone's deep baritone rumble shook the walls. Ace
You
sneered.
have me at a disadvantage, and I don't like that. You know me, but I don't know you.
Which again, I would be like, how does he not know him if he met him 9 years ago? But then, yeah, this is Ace. He doesn't recognize
Do you
people.
have any idea how much I've suffered? Can you even begin to understand my pain?
I wonder if Ace even knows that his compatriots are dead, since he can't recognize people.
The pain of prosopagnosia, right?
Junpei's voice was casual, or at least it was trying to be.
Another irritating insect. And how do you know that?
Junpei doesn't know!
Good question.
He just knew. An unexplainable
No
mystery.
matter. If you don't want to answer, it makes no difference to me. This is a waste of time anyway. It's time for me to go.
And Ace Junpei could see the red, like a small indentation on the wall. Ace placed his hand on the scanner.
First is 1. Give me your hand.
It beeped. He forced his Lotus hand onto it as well.
8. And with this,
And at last, he reached into the pocket of his jacket. He pulled out something and pressed against the wall. Does he have the zero bracelet? It's not really a zero bracelet. Third astral appear on the red.
9.
Oh, the ninth man's. The thing he had used for the final verification was the bracelet with the number 9.
The ninth man. Kubota's bracelet.
I believe I've won this game.
He smirked, made Junpei's blood
I've had
boil.
quite a time playing with you. I must thank Zero, I suppose.
Wait, what? Ace doesn't know who Zero is.
Junpei's eyes flicked towards Santa. He hadn't moved since they'd entered the room. He was all holding his stomach and groaning in immense pain. Junpei wasn't sure if it was real pain, but he wasn't sure it wasn't either.
What the hell are you planning, Santa?
At any rate, this game ends now. I will escape, and the rest of you will have a slightly less pleasant ending.
I mean, based on where he is right now, that seems probable, possible.
I suggest you enjoy your final moments. Goodbye. Wait!
Ace, of course, paid no heed to Seven's request and laid hold of the lever on the red. Signaling a sense of finality, he pulled it.
What? Why isn't it opening?
So the ninth man's really wasn't 9, like they thought. They thought that it might be reversed, and it was 6, and June actually had 9.
One more time.
Interesting. Let's try to take advantage of Ace's confusion. Managed to twist it out of his grasp, but last second he grabbed hold of her wrist and shoved it onto the red.
Now open!
He waved the number 9 bracelet over the red and his own bracelet as well. He pulled the lever a second time.
No! What is this? Why?
And it's because he had June the first time. It was June was the real 9. Oh wait, well he wasn't using the ninth man's bracelet before, so of course they were all lit.
It should be 9. It has to be 9. Then why? Why isn't it opening?
He's very confused and overridden all over other thoughts. He set down the revolver. He was just below the red.
Now.
7 chose that. Well, yeah, if he puts on the revolver, of course you're going to pick that moment out. He moved far faster than the bulk should have been able to, and launched that bulk straight at Ace. Good job. Man, I can't believe Ace is that stupid that he puts the gun down. It's over before they knew it. In the blink of an eye, Ace was on the floor. On one side, groaning in pain. Liz ran straight for Junpei. She ran behind him and stuck her head out. Yeah, Junpei's going to freaking get behind 7.
Oh, that was close. Too close. Thank you, 7.
I'm going to take that voice clip and just play it when I play this game again. Thank you, 7.
Don't mention it.
7 stood over Ace, breathing slow and
Just
heavily.
one punch ain't enough for this piece of shit. After what he did 9 years ago, I ought to rip him to pieces. But if a suspect can't talk, they ain't much good. Once he's locked up in a cell, we're gonna have a little chat.
9 years ago? Then you must be...
Yeah, you finally figured it out, dumbass.
Seven is quickly moving up the ranks in terms of favorite characters. Found his hand and shook his head. Junpei walked towards him. He stopped and looked down at Ace with pity in his face.
Ace, you killed Kubota, Nijisaki, and Musashido, didn't you?
How could he have possibly done that? I mean, we know he set Kubota up, and we know he kind of had Nijisaki go into the door, but he never even got access to him with Musashido. Like, Musashido was dead before any of us got access to that room.
Wait, Nijisaki?
Peter Junpei genuinely confused.
Oh, right. You don't know yet.
It's also interesting that he didn't question Musashido.
All right. We'll just go through them in order then. Let's start off with Kubota. You talked to Kubota and managed to convince him to go into door 5 alone. You killed him without making it look like you killed him.
Yeah, we know about that part already, so that's definitely truism.
The way I figure it, you had 4 motives. 1. In the nonary game, the number 9 is dangerous.
It's interesting where there's no way he would figure all this out, except again, he's getting information from his other self.
Whoever had the 9 bracelet could join whatever team they wanted.
Because this is literally word for word the same as he said in the other
Adding
playthrough.
9 to any number doesn't change the digital route. Which means that number 9 could do whatever they wanted. You wanted to remove that threat as soon as possible. 2. You wanted the number 9 bracelet for yourself,
For the exact same
so
reason.
that you could make use of its power. In fact, you did use it in the murder of Niji Saki. 3. Even if his number hadn't been 9, Kubota was a problem. He knew your past. He knew what had happened 9 years before. You needed to silence him before he told anyone. 4. But last, and perhaps the most disturbing, you used Kubota as a test. You wanted to know how serious this nonary game was. Was it truly life or death, or simply a harmless prank?
And that is really the most twisted part of it,
You
too.
convinced him to break the rules so you could see what would happen. That was why you killed Kubota. But he was only the first. Next was Nijisaki. While everyone was off looking for the missing parts for the Reds, you ran into Nijisaki near the big hospital room. However, because of your prosopagnosia, you didn't realize he was Nijisaki.
It's still kind of surprising he didn't notice that the hair was the same color as Snake's, because usually they could tell by hair color at least.
Chiefly because, when you met him, he was dressed like Snake. That was why you thought Nijisaki was Snake.
No, that's not... That was Nijisaki? Why? How did...
He seems so helpless and confused. I love it.
I'll get to that. Anyway, you thought he was Snake. Snake was one of the kids in your experiment 9 years ago.
One of the many, apparently. There's like 4 of them in here.
You remembered him because he was the blind kid. But his presence made you think.
That actually, I don't know why I didn't figure out before, but yeah, that's why he didn't take action against Clover or Santa or June, because he has prosopagnosia, and he didn't realize they were the same person. But the blind kid had a distinguishing feature. Would any blind person, would he be like, that's probably that blind kid?
Snake was one of my subjects 9 years ago. He probably hates me. But if that's true, why isn't he saying anything? Is he keeping quiet because he can't see? Or perhaps he's working with Zero to get revenge on me. Whatever the reason, anyone who knows my past is a threat. Before he tries anything, I need to get rid of him. That was when you decided you had to kill him. The murder weapon was Kubota's bracelet. You just waved it over the red. Verified your own number and then grabbed Nijisaki's arm and forced it over the scanner panel. Then, when the door opened, you kicked him in.
And it is, for a split second, the fact that he had the exact same number as Snake, but again, Zero set this whole thing up, so Zero knew they were going to abduct Snake.
9 seconds later, the door closed. And then 81 seconds passed. And poor Nijisaki was dead.
Then you mean to say... Snake is still alive?
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm as good as new. Thank you for killing the wrong man, but I can't say I like knowing that you wanted me dead. Although, to be honest, even if you hadn't tried to kill me, I would still hate you very much.
Well, I wouldn't blame you.
His self-derision was frustrating. Junpei kept his emotions in check and continued.
Last but not least, let's talk about Musashido's death. When Clover and I were investigating the chart room, you came over to talk to me. Do you remember what you said?
Oh, a pocket watch. Might I take a look at it?
I handed it to you, and you left the room.
Interesting, but oh, that's, because yeah, every time I go into the chart room, Ace is with me, and when I go in other routes, Musashido is never mentioned. But that doesn't make sense. Like, if there was some dude in the captain's quarters, why... But yeah, because I talked about how the fact that in previous playthroughs, they don't mention they found a corpse, but then where is he in those playthroughs?
You had been in charge of the Nonary project. Of course you would have known the solution to every puzzle, which would mean that you also knew how to get out of the wheelhouse. All you had to do was place the watch in the indentation on the door to unlock it. With the door open, you could enter the captain's quarters. Musashido was there. Conveniently placed next to him was an axe that practically begged you to kill him with it. You picked up that axe and buried the blade deep in the other man's chest.
Why was he just hanging out with an axe? Was he also drugged?
One blow was all it took. And then you returned to the chart room as if nothing had happened.
There was something I wanted to speak with you about, Junpei. Could you come with me for a moment?
I had no reason to say no, so I followed you to the wheelhouse. When we stepped inside, remember how you slipped your hand into my vest? You pulled out a piece of paper, the one I used to cheat during the vote.
Oh, by the way, everyone, I cheated during the vote.
But that wasn't really what you were after. Your true purpose had been to slip the watch into my pocket. It wasn't a very good plan. Had way too many holes, and someone saying the wrong thing could have brought it all down around you. You must have been desperate. But what made you willing to risk it all to do it? Ace.
That's the only thing Junpei hadn't been able to figure out.
Musashido's murder is the only one I don't understand. You obviously did it. But why?
And how did you know he was there?
Because of this.
It's a full piece of paper.
What's with the paper?
Just read it.
Junpei took it and opened
Let's
it.
see.
Isn't the ship sinking right now?
Number 1. There are 2 ways you might survive this ordeal. The first is to win the nonary game. The second is for you to confess your sins of 9 years past.
Interesting.
I have prepared a camera in the captain's quarters. The images captured by that camera will be streamed through a satellite and distributed across the world.
That's why the damn camera was... I always wondered why there was a camera pointed at a door.
Simply look into the camera and repent. Once you have confessed everything, I will release you from this ship. To make your confession more credible, I have left you a witness in the captain's quarters.
And that explains how he knew he was there. Okay, I was wondering, like, why would he just randomly, like, let me go one room ahead for no reason? Oh, there's a dude here, let me kill him.
Perhaps he will confess with you. The decision is yours. Do as you please. 0.
When I awoke in that room on D-Deck, I found that in my pocket. That was why I chose door 1 when we voted. If I went through that door, I knew I could get to the captain's quarters. As you said, I knew how to enter the wheelhouse. My plan was to find the pocket watch before anyone else. If I could, then my alibi would be set. At least, that was the plan.
But I ended up finding it first, which is surprising.
Unfortunately for me, you got to it first. That sleight of hand was the best I could manage on short notice.
You meant to kill him from the beginning then? Musashido, I mean.
I don't know he knew it was Musashido
I
either.
only knew Musashido was the witness after I reached the captain's quarters.
But that makes sense, yeah. He was just...
I asked him, and he answered. He seemed groggy. Perhaps he had only just awoken from sedation. I suppose Nijisaki was in much the same state. He seemed confused and disoriented when I encountered him.
Interesting. So, poor Ace is accidentally murdering, like, close friends and allies and never knew it.
But yes, you are correct. I intended to kill him from the beginning, even though I didn't know who he was. I proceeded to the captain's quarters in order to remove this so-called witness.
Ace had confessed to everything. What energy had left... What energy had left... What energy he had left him with the truth? What? What energy he had left him with the truth. Okay, that... Man, that sentence was difficult to parse. Although he confessed, his sins were not forgiven. I felt revulsion for the pathetic man on the floor near his feet. Although the revulsion was a hit of pity. After all, Ace had not been the only person who murdered those 3 men.
Ace, you figured it out, haven't you? You were being manipulated.
Yes, so it would seem. I was little more than a puppet, in many ways. Everywhere I went, everything was already prepared. The Reds in the large hospital room were dismantled. Nijisaki was dressed like Snake. There was an axe in the captain's quarters. Musashido was delirious from the anesthetic, so he couldn't fight back. Nijisaki as well. In retrospect, I can't understand how I could have fallen into such a simple trap.
Well, because you assumed you knew what was going on, and because you assumed that, you didn't check it.
But yes, this was a trap. It was Zero's trap, and I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I did everything he wanted me to do.
Yeah, By manipulating you, Zero was able to kill 3 people and keep the blood off his own hands. All of this was revenge for what happened 9 years ago. That's why this nonary game happened.
Yeah. Your stupid butt and your stupid nonary game dragged all of us into this.
Am I right, Santa?
Junpei looked over at Santa. Junpei spoke, his legs still shaky.
Huh? What the hell are you talking about? I don't know any...
Ain't no point trying to play dumb anymore, Santa. Actually, I guess I should call you Aoi Kurashiki, huh?
Seven's face was sad as he
The
spoke.
memory came back to me, kid. You're Aoi Kurashiki, no doubt about it. Never thought I'd be back in this room talking to you. But hey, I guess this was all part of your plan, right?
I do wonder if that's going to, like, why would he drag in people that went through it before, and especially why would he drag in people who knew who he was?
After all, the person who planned the nonary game this time around was Zero. And Zero's you.
Looks like you really do have your memories back, huh?
Santa's smile was sarcastic and something else.
Well, I guess there's no point in hiding it then, huh? Yeah, you got me. I'm Aoi Kurashiki. I was one of the kids in the nonary game 9 years ago.
He's not admitting to being Zero, at least not yet, though.
I made it out. So did Snake over there. But there's one thing... No, I guess there's 2 things you got wrong.
What, that he's Zero and that Zero planned it?
Number 1, I ain't Zero.
What?
Wait, what?
Sure, I was helping Zero out, but I'm really more of an assistant, like a secretary. But an assistant's only an assistant.
The assistant only offers assistance.
I didn't come up with all this. All I did was follow Zero's orders.
Then, if you're not Zero, who is?
Calm down there, Junpei. Didn't I say 2 things?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out, but at this point, it's like, it's either Clover, June, because it's off. It's Zero. Ace is not Zero. Snake is not Zero. Snake can't abduct himself. Santa isn't Zero. Clover's possible, but Clover's doubtful because Clover would not have known, would not be freaking out as much as she did about Snake's disappearance if she's the one that abducted him. Junpei's out. June's possible. Seven's out. Lotus is possible. And obviously the 9th man is dead, so... it's either Lotus or June. Lotus slightly more likely, although the fact that she gets abducted so much, I'm kind of thinking June. Because Zero has pegged people's behaviors to a T, and Zero would not put themselves in position to keep getting guns poked into them.
You made one more mistake. Junpei, you just said, all of this was revenge for what happened 9 years ago. That's why this nonary game happened. But that's not it. Revenge isn't the only purpose.
Interesting, so you're just the secretary, but going to blab on everything?
There's another reason you guys are playing the nonary game. To save someone.
Save someone?
Right. You were brought here to help my sister.
What? How will playing the nonary game again 9 years later help her? Like I've gradually accepted the idea. Hold on, wait. Save his sister, so that means that June is actually dead in this timeline, even though she's sitting in the corner? What the actual hell?
To save Akane.
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, she's right there, dude.
Akane Kurashiki died 9 years ago in this room. I was there. I saw...
Suddenly, Seven froze. Someone was white as dinner, but he spun around towards June. Junpei followed his gaze.
What?
She was... What the actual hell? So what, now that we acknowledge that she's dead, then she's not here anymore? Where June had been, there was nothing.
What the hell? Where is she? Where's Akane Kurashiki?
Something had a mumble, a strange series of words strung together as if his mind wasn't functioning properly. His face was twisted with effort, as though he were struggling with something he couldn't see. His teeth and pressed his hands against the side of his head.
Oh, my head! Oh, my head, feels like it's gonna pop.
7! What the hell is going on?
I don't know. I just... Oh! I swear to God, my head feels like it's about to explode!
Is 7 now getting the headaches that were plaguing Akane the entire game? So far away, they all heard a deep, heavy noise. It sounded like a tremendous wheel slowly beginning to turn. It seemed to enter an almost trance-like state. Its words were calm and measured.
What was the Nonary Project? I'm sure you know already, but I'll tell you one more time.
One more time.
It was a project designed to test a particular phenomenon. And what was that phenomenon?
The ability to have information that is learned by people infect the general population?
For two organisms to communicate with one another in the absence of physical contact. The morphogenetic field theory.
Okay, he described it slightly better than I did.
Could human beings use these invisible fields to exchange information? That was what this experiment was conducted to determine. There were two separate locations. One was the Gigantic, and the other was a building in Nevada called Building Q.
All right.
The 9 children trapped in Building Q were faced with numerous puzzles, copies of identical ones on the Gigantic. They were told to send their answers into the Morphic field set and transmit them to their brothers and sisters on the Gigantic. The transmitters were put in Building Q, and the receivers were put on the Gigantic. Each sibling pair was supposed to be split up, but
It got screwed up for you and June.
there was a mistake. Akane was a transmitter. She should have been in Building Q. However, for some reason, she was placed on the Gigantic with the receivers, like me. Perhaps she was mistaken for someone who was supposed to be in Group A. Whatever the case, Akane ended up on the Gigantic.
Right. We knew this
I
before.
think I've told you enough. You get it, don't you? I'm pretty sure you know where this is going, Junpei.
Where what is going?
This?
Don't play dumb.
It's really annoying.
You know things you shouldn't. Things you couldn't. How did you know Ace had prosopagnosia?
So, Junpei is a receiver and a transmitter because he's sending information to himself across timelines?
How did you know why Ace wanted to kill Kubota and how Nijisaki was killed? Were you surprised when you found out Ace was Hongo?
Wow, how does Santa know he wasn't surprised? Santa's also a receiver.
And what
Wait,
about
we already
the
knew that.
coffin Snake was trapped in? How the hell did you open it?
Well, that's...
The answer to that was easy. He knew because I knew. He was receiving information that I sent to him through the Morphic field set. So wait, he's getting it from me, not his other self? Dameol is saving the game! It's simple, really. How do I know the alternate futures, then? Imagine a river that splits in two, like an upside-down Y. The river flows from the top to the bottom, from a single stream into two branches. It only flows in one direction. It can never flow backwards. It's like a flowchart! Wait! The information's the same way. It goes from the past to the future, but it never flows backwards. So people that source the past will never know about those downstream in the future. People downstream will never know about one another either. Information only flows along the path of the river. But I am different. I can manipulate the Morphic field set to pluck knowledge from the future. I mean, if it's going to be me, I might make myself sound grandiose, right? I know what happens on either fork of the river, even though the people on either fork know nothing about one another. So it's not Junpei that knows, it's me. Who am I? I am Dameol. I am I, the 9th letter of the alphabet. Oh, that's clever. I wonder what that was in Japanese, because obviously that wasn't... it could have been, I guess. But I am also 0. No, that's true. I'm not really 0. Not yet. Perhaps you could say I am less than 0. 0 is my future. In 9 years, I will be 0. Interesting. So, it's not actually me. That's disappointing. I was kind of hoping I was in the game. But if that's the case, then Ironically, the first when I started reading this, I was reading it kind of like this, which is a bit closer to the actual accent I should probably be using. Because if it's someone that was around 9 years ago, that eliminates Lotus, and it means that past Akane is sending messages to Junpei. And next time we'll find out where she went. Why am I... I'm in adventure screen and won't let me go back to novel screen. Interesting. Regardless, I will see you all in the next one.